Hey guys, it's Brigitte with San Diego Seed Company, and today I'm going to talk to you in depth about our trellising system. It's called Low and Lean. It is a system that's used a lot in commercial greenhouses, and it is completely applicable to the home gardener, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you can get tons of tomatoes in a really small space, and your garden will be neater. There's just so many benefits to it. Now, I'm gonna go step by step in this video and talk about all the different components that you need, why you would use this system, and hopefully answer a lot of the questions that you guys have posted on our other videos about trellising. Now, keep in mind, there's a million different ways to grow your tomatoes and trellis your tomatoes, and we've done them all. We've done cattle panels, as you can see here. We actually have a cattle panel, and I have my cherry tomatoes on there. And I have them on there because I let the cherry tomatoes kind of grow wild. I don't need them to be neat and well maintained. Now for indeterminate tomatoes that are large slicers, our tomatoes we have here are the Lucid Gem. I want them to be neat and orderly because I want big, fat, beautiful slicing tomatoes that I get on my plants, and they're heavy, they're big. And so the trellis system needs to be really secure. So let's go through it step by step and show you everything that you need and why you would potentially use this system. First off, let's talk about the trellising system. So we have here this system that we learned from our friend Josh Satin, and we fell in love with it mostly because we had a lot of this material laying around on the farm and it was inexpensive. You do not have to use this exact system. All you need is an overhead bar that's strong that you can hang a piece of string on, and a Tomahawk, and I'll explain what all of those pieces are. But for this particular system, this is just a 3/4 inch electrical conduit, very inexpensive, some T-posts. I believe these are 10-foot T-posts, and they're dug pretty far in the ground because we want this to be a really secure system. No, look at this, no tomato is gonna pull this system down. And then these are just tees, inexpensive tees that we had laying around on the farm from irrigation work. Basically, all this system is doing is it's giving me an overhead area that I can hang my Tomahawk on, and it's directly over my row of tomatoes. Now, I have gotten some comments on some of our videos on YouTube, people not liking the system. There's, again, a million different ways to do it, but for me, the inexpensive material, the ease, and also the neatness of the system was what made it the best system for us. So what we have here is we've got this trellis, and this is what you're gonna put your low and lean system on. Now, what is low and lean? Again, it's a system that's usually used in like commercial greenhouses, but market growers use it, and serious tomato enthusiasts use it as well to get a lot of indeterminate large slicing tomatoes in a small area and keep it nice and neat. So we've got this post here, and the next part of the system here is this is called a Tomahawk. And basically all this is it's a piece of metal that allows me to put tomato twine around it. And I have quite a bit of tomato twine on there, more than I probably need. And at the end of it, I've got a plant clip. Now, there's lots of different plant clips out there. I do recommend that you get one that's quality, because otherwise, if they're really cheap plastic, they'll break down in just a couple of weeks in the sun. So these are good quality ones that they have a clip that you can actually clip and unclip, which I really like. They're reusable, so you can use them over and over. We use them season after season, so that we can get the most out of them. And the way this plant clip works, it's got little teeth here. That string goes into the teeth. As you close it around the plant, it clips, and then you have a plant clip. Okay, so I have the Tomahawk, I've got my overhead post, and now you can use a piece of wire, you can use anything you want to hook this to the post. I like good old-fashioned zip ties. Love these for farm use. They're just so simple. So I'm gonna put a zip tie around here. I'm gonna leave plenty of space. Another reason why I like the zip tie is because you want to be able to move this back and forth. That's for the lean part of low and lean. So the Tomahawk gets hooked to your trellis here. You've got this long string And the string is gonna come down to my tomato. This is an indeterminate tomato, meaning that it's gonna give fruit little by little all throughout the season, not all at once. It's a large slicing tomato. And so I want to train it to put its energy into the larger tomatoes one at a time so that I can come out here and pick my tomatoes, and then I'll know in a week or in a couple of days the next tomato will be ready. That's the benefit of this system. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my plant clip, I'm gonna come down to the bottom, and I'm gonna put the string into the little teeth here, and then I'm gonna clip it around the plant. It's as simple as that. Doesn't need to be super tight because as the plant grows, it will get heavier. Now with this particular system, you will want to train it to 1, maybe 2 liters. Really 1 liter is best. And what does 1 liter mean? It just means that you have one main stalk that comes up from the ground and grows up on this string. If you have multiple stalks, then the plant is sending energy into all different areas and you don't get as concentrated of a harvest. This is why this is used more in commercial greenhouses or for market growing, because you want to really get tomatoes on a timed basis. So I've got this hooked on here, and again, doesn't have to be tight because the plant will fill it out and this will become tighter. Now, the other part of this is training it to that 1 liter. So I'm actually gonna go in and I'm gonna cut off other branches that are below where I put the plant clip. So I only had 1 here, so I just took this guy off. Now, why would you do that? Well, the leaves that are closer to the ground are more likely to be touching wet soil and come in contact with pathogens. So by pruning it so that there's nothing on the bottom, you're gonna have less disease issues. You're also gonna increase the airflow that's directly around the plant, which is just going to make it a happier plant. So I've got this clipped here, and now what'll happen is this plant is gonna continue to grow up this string, and I will continue to use my plant clips to clip it into place. Now this is a baby tomato. You can see it's just now starting to flower. And so that's all I'm gonna do with this one. But I've got a nice example right over here. This is a tomato plant that is much older. And we can see exactly the system that I'm talking about. We've got a plant clip here at the bottom. I've got the string following up the plant. We've got another plant clip right here. We've got some beautiful tomatoes. The plant string continues to go up. I've got it clipped again. And it's going to continue to go all the way up the string. Now, if we think about the energy flow, all the nutrients and moisture and all the plant food is here in the soil, and it follows up the stem, and it's not getting sidelined by any side branches that are taking that energy. And it's going to go all the way up, and where is its first stop? Bam, right here on these beautiful tomatoes. That's one of the beauties of the system, is you're telling the tomato plant exactly what to do with its energy, and you're not wasting energy on unnecessary, leaves and things like that. Now, this is a nice example because you can see energy comes up, it hits these tomatoes. Where does it go next? Bam, the next set of flowers. So when these are ready, these will be ready in probably 3 weeks or so. These will already have tomatoes on them, and they'll be next in line to be picked. So I will harvest these, and that will free up some energy for the plant to put more energy into these tomatoes, and so on and so forth. And so it continues all the way up the plant. Now, let's talk about the Tomahawk and how this plays into here. So what this does is it's got the string that can be raveled and unraveled. So as the tomato plant grows up this, I've got it on my zip tie here. As it gets up here taller, I can simply unravel it. Now that's the lower part of the equation, so I'm lowering the tomato. And then the leaning part is me leaning it down the trellis here. Now, again, this would probably be way up here, much further up the plant, but that's what the low and lean portion of this system is. All of these leaves have been pruned, so there's no need for this plant to be completely upright. And you can lean it either way. Let's say you've got your trellis system. Let's say I want to lean it into the row here. What's nice is it's very clean and clear where my tomatoes are, and so it's easy to harvest them, in addition to all the other benefits. So for the low and lean, for the lowering, you're gonna do that because otherwise this tomato plant will easily grow all the way up over here and down. And in reality, I can't build a trellis tall enough for this type of tomato. And again, this is an indeterminate, or what they call a pole tomato. A lot of your large heirloom slicers are going to grow like this, like a very long vine. So think of it as managing this one vine versus managing a whole tomato plant. So the lower part is allowing it to grow up here, and you're lowering down the string so that it doesn't have to grow over this. And then the leaning is leaning it out of the way so that once this plant is big enough, I can continue to lean this over. It is, yes, it is a little bit of work compared to just throwing it on a trellis, but there's so many benefits to this. One, you have less disease issues. That's one of the reasons why they use it in commercial greenhouses. Two, you can see insects a lot quicker. When it's tomato hornworm season, you're gonna spot a tomato hornworm on these plants way quicker than you are when it's a huge bushy tomato that you can't really see. You're gonna channel energy into the tomatoes that you wanna harvest, and you're gonna have a steady harvest. Instead of having tomatoes all at once, you're gonna have them all season long. And it's a lot neater and a lot cleaner in the garden space, so it just makes it easier for management purposes. Okay guys, before we wrap up this video, I know I've given you a lot of information, but let's look at why this works on a bigger scale. Let's look at the total system here and why it would work. So, okay, so this is the big picture of why this system would work. So when I have these tomato plants and they've been pruned at the bottom, and I have area to move the vines, slide them down this way or slide them down this way, the vines laying on the ground are doing no harm. And actually keeping them pruned and keeping those leaves and all that dead material off the ground is gonna help you with disease issues. And you're channeling the energy exactly to the tomato where you want. Versus, for example, growing on a system like this, these are cherry tomatoes, so it's okay. But if you had large slicer tomatoes, this system would not be good. First of all, you're likely to have fruit that gets stuck between the metal, the system's not strong enough, and it's too messy, and you're likely to have disease and pest issues. Whereas with this system, I have 60 tomato plants in a very small area, which is similar to the way that they grow in greenhouses for commercial production, and I'm gonna get pounds and pounds and pounds of tomato this summer with not very much effort. Now that I've got the system set up, it's really gonna make a big difference in my harvest.